Hi everyone, welcome to the astrology report for July 13th to July 20th. I'm excited to give you the breakdown of this particular time period ending on the new moon on the 20th in Cancer. So I'm glad to have you here and to have you viewing this video. So thank you for joining. And obviously when we're talking about the bigger transits that are happening in the sky, there's always the interaction and the play of your chart with those transits. So understanding where these energies are hitting you is pretty important, which readings and things like that can illuminate. But generally we can all still feel these energies. It just can change some of the departments of life in which we experience them the most. So just to start, Mercury officially went out of retrograde on the 11th and will be out of the shadow period of Mercury retrograde on July 26th. So we've got a little bit more time in the shadow period, which basically just means that it's almost like, I like to describe it like an earthquake, right? When Mercury retrograde hits. Not that it's, that bad or anything, but the analogy of the earthquake is when it hits, you've got this sort of focal point of energy, right? And it's intense. But then as it begins to go direct and then go into that shadow period, you're almost just getting little aftershocks of this. So this is like the third time that I've tried to film this video, for example, because it got interrupted by several other things. So nothing really crazy, but just little bits of that type of energy can still come in with the technology and the miscommunication and that piece. But we're moving out of it. And so this means that, projects and plans and communications with people that you're close with can start to move in a more positive direction with more momentum. So we can just go with the ebbs and tides of this versus fighting against it. Oftentimes when you make big plans, either business-wise or otherwise during Mercury retrograde, you end up revisiting them later. So it's a good time to, start to get those plans going, start to come out of the shell, this, Mercury in Cancer, start to, get this moving, but really thinking about the 26th as this time where it's, more speed ahead here. So take your time with these plans and make sure you have all the details laid out so you don't have more work for yourself later. And it's okay if you plan something during this time. It's not saying to not do that. It's just saying that you may have to revisit it later. So just in terms of flow and fluidity. So the sun is also in Cancer right now. We're beginning to move out of Cancer and into Leo season next week, which will bring us some more fire in the chart, which those of you that have been following me in the last months, I've been talking about how we've planetarily been lacking quite a bit of fire in the chart. We do have Mars in Aries right now, which is giving us a boost, and it's moving more fully ahead into Aries, so that's giving us some energy. Obviously, when the sun moves into Leo, that will give us energy. And we do have an Aries moon today, so I'm feeling it. I'm feeling a little bit of fire, like getting some things done, but there's other reasons for that too. So one of those reasons is that the sun is joined with Vesta right now. And when the sun is joined with Vesta, we often feel like our work is very important, and we start to identify with our work and our career more so during this particular time. So it's important, especially in the coming days, to be focused on your craft, to be focused on your work, your career, what's going on with that. And then that's going to start to subside as the sun moves further away from Vesta. But I wanted to let you know that that's up in the energy right now. So if you just have more energy to devote to that, again, we're not talking about wrapping up all the plans because of Mercury retrograde, but we're talking about, what brings you passion right now? What steps can you take right now personally that are going to bring fulfillment in the workplace environment? What tasks do you need to complete right now? There's some energy towards that. Now, also early this week and throughout, I believe it's Thursday, the sun is opposite Jupiter. And you may have felt this coming in yesterday and over the weekend. And Jupiter brings this expansive quality to the collective identity, this wanting to break out and be free and to feel more expansive and expressive. Jupiter is about generosity, it's about expansion, it's about overdoing it sometimes, expansion too far. And so when it hits the identity, there can be this feeling that we really want to expand beyond our horizons where we're at right now. There's an energy of joy that can come in even in these intense times when Jupiter is opposite the sun, if you're tuning into the planetary frequencies. So you can feel like this would be a good time to explore how you can grow right now, how you can grow as a person. So you may feel like studying metaphysical stuff in the next few days, or you may feel like expanding your business, or you may feel like, just expanding your reach or expanding your connection to others. The downside of Sun Jupiter opposite is that, people can get a little grandiose during this time, thinking that they know everything, they know it all, and so you may see some stories like that in the news or in people's news feeds, of somebody, correcting you or thinking that they're God. And the fact of the matter is that, nobody is, we all are divine, but nobody has the ultimate authority. And Sun opposite Jupiter can have a very expanded ego. So you want to watch that within yourself a bit right now. Later in the week, we're going to move more closely to a Sun opposite Pluto configuration. And so when we move into Sun opposite Pluto, you may feel a little bit more reserved than this beginning of the week, this Sun opposite Jupiter. Here I am, I'm expanding, I'm expressing myself. And Sun Pluto sometimes wants to draw inward. It's a little more reticent. It's a little bit more, I don't know if I want to show you all my cards right now. But it's very powerful, it's this very potent energy where we can use our power for the good. And so it's just being mindful of that. But, because Pluto has a tendency towards secrecy and towards hiding, and the sun very much wants to be out there and they're fighting each other, midweek, you may not feel like putting yourself fully out there as much as you do right now with this Jupiter enhancing it. So I often say in reading, strike while the iron's hot. So strike early this week if there's things that you want to create and put out there. That's where I really felt like, okay, I need to put out a video today. I need to get myself out there today. I may even announce a project later today. So, putting yourself out there now and over the next few days. And then when Sun is opposite Pluto, the challenge is to really stay in your power, not to hide too much, and to work through any subconscious fears or shadows you may have around standing in that power. Obviously, we want people to stand in power who are standing in love too. So make sure that your intentions are correct with Sun opposite Pluto, so that you can support the collective right now. So that's another thing that's happening this week. Moon is also with Eris today, so you may see some communities around you welcoming you in or leaving you out. Eris is this myth of the goddess who is left out of the party, and with the moon joining with that today, depending on how this is aspecting your chart, you may see certain communities welcoming you back in if it's aspecting you harmoniously, or you might feel a bit left out. You might feel a little bit pushed aside, and working with that energy. It's in Aries as I'm looking at this right now. So working with that inner warrior to stay empowered regardless of what happens. Eris really took out her wrath, on those who left her out, and we have to be careful of that drive within us if it's hitting us funky. So you want to just kind of go with this and see what's really happening around you, and where you're being welcomed in, where you're being left out, and just kind of watching those patterns and those themes, and and not ignoring it, not sweeping it under the rug, facing it. Aries really wants us to face it and to look at it, right? So that's also happening right now. That's going to move out a little bit later in the week, but we're kind of in that energy right now. So let me see what else. Mars and Chiron are also exact right now, and I was getting sort of a hit around this because the degree is 9 degrees Aries, and 9 degrees Aries, the symbol for that is a crystal gazer, and this is a very intuitive symbol. It's a very expansive symbol in that it communicates this idea of being able to see what's coming, being able to see what's next. And with Chiron in that equation, there could be some healing around your intuition right now. And there's a piece here with Mars that's saying, really pay attention, really get in tune with that intuition and take action on it. Mars is very action oriented. It's very much about our will and our drive and our movement forward. And so Mars with Chiron is saying, okay, there's something healing happening here around our intuition. And so to take action on that. And I know for myself, what I've noticed is it's almost like these synchronicities are popping in right as I take action on these intuitions. Like I'm building this project right now on the side, and as I'm doing it, these really immense synchronicities are happening at the very same time. Confirmations, almost exact moment. This feels like this very Mars Chiron energy of take action on the intuition, allow it to heal, allow yourself to move forward, and again, reminding ourselves of this Eris and Moon, moving forward into the communities that are welcoming you in right now, that enjoy having you there. So that's a big theme here this week that I wanted to go into as well. As we hit the new moon is going to be in Cancer, opposite Capricorn, and opposite Pluto in Capricorn, opposite Saturn in Capricorn, more exact opposite Saturn in Capricorn is what we're really looking at on this new moon. And it's interesting to me because it's like, we're moving out of this eclipse cycle that's been about Cancer versus Capricorn, right? And we've been in this cycle for quite some time. And it's almost like this new moon is the exclamation point of this dynamic of, okay, you really, really need to balance home life and work life. Cancer, home, emotions, nurturing, mother, Capricorn, father, success, drive, all of these types of themes. And Saturn, which rules Capricorn and also rules the father essence and that sort of archetype, is opposite Cancer on the new moon. So this feels like a real time where we're being asked to release the inner fears, the inner limitations that we have set for ourselves when it comes to work and when it comes to home, to really put put an end to that chapter. What are those fears? Have you had, success fears? Have you had money fears? There's a lot of those floating around during this time. I've been trying to tune them out on some levels, not for people that need financial support right now. I'm not tuning that out. What I'm tuning out is the frequency of that everybody's going to be in lack during this time, which isn't true. I'm just going to let you know that, and it's not true. And you may be buying into some of those fears with this Saturn opposite the moon, and you may have to release that once and for all, to close that karmic story. Or you may be out of harmony in the home life and where you're living. And there might be some restriction around this for you. And you might be needing to move on to set a new vision for what home really means for you. And so this is also here. And so this new moon is going to be a time for you to get really laser focused on what it is that you're looking to create and how you can step out of fear to create that, because again, Saturn is fear, it's lack, it's limitation. It also can be our drive and our way forward, but in order to get there, we have to overcome the fears. So that's why Saturn returns can be so powerful, because it's asking us to often walk away from foundations that have kept us in lack or kept us in fear. So when I went through my Saturn return, I left a relationship that was keeping me in that space. I left a job that didn't feel expansive for me and went into the healing arts full time, which felt really expansive to me. So, Saturn opposite this moon is, hey, what's not feeling really expansive for you? What foundation needs to be shifted so that you can make room for the new and you can really, really nourish yourself. Again, Cancer is a water sign, right? And, water is about nourishment. It's about feeling in flow. It's about feeling detached and going with this flow. And so when we have things in our life that block up that flow, whether they're belief systems or other structures we've created for ourselves, these water signs don't feel as much in harmony. So we need to bring this fluidity back during this new moon in whatever way that we can, and whatever way is calling you. Again, it depends on where this is hitting your chart to give a more specific outlook. So even though it may feel like a little bit deeper work, a little bit more intense work when this new moon hits, it's worth it. It's really worth it for you to come into those structures and foundations that make you feel really good. And again, these may be part of the home life, work-life balance. They may have to do also with healing the way you parent yourself. Cancer is the mother, Capricorn is the father. So we may be re-parenting during this time and really getting clear on what we need as individuals. Because each of us have had different experiences in our growth, in our childhood, in our upbringing to bring to bear on these particular archetypes. So that's all I wanted to share with you today. I hope to be on next week, but I just go with the flow and try to come on here as much as I can. So thank you for listening. If you need support in healing or astrology or consulting, you can book at my website, flowersandstars.org. And I'm doing all distance work currently at this time, but I'm happy to support. It's my deepest service, if you will. I have 5 planets in the house of service, health, and healing. So I feel like it's my dharma to serve, and I'm happy to do it. So So thank you so much, and I hope that you have a good week and a progressive new moon into these new intentions for yourself next Monday.